Okay, this meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees was previously called to order. We do have the presence of a quorum. The meeting has been duly called and posted in the time and manner required. As we always do, we'll begin this meeting with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bergfeld, the floor is yours.
You please stand. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the people you have placed in the service of this school district, especially my fellow board members and administrators present tonight. We give thanks for our classroom teachers who show up every day ready to change lives through their love for children and desire to make a difference right here in Tyler. Lord, help us to be clear about your truths, led by your will and not our own understanding. Help us be brave in our protection of the children, both mentally and physically. And finally, Father, we ask that our state and national leaders feel your presence as they lead us as our authorities. I pray all of this in my Savior Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bergfeld.
Yes, sir.
We do have some action coming out of executive session. The first one is possible action to propose a termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment of Neva Smith. Do I have a motion on that item?
Mr. President, I move that the board propose the termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment contract of Neva Smith for abandonment, and that the administration be directed to provide the required notices pertaining to that process.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries, and we have one more possible action to propose termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment contract of Jimmy Moore. Do I have a motion on that item?
Mr. President, I move that the board propose the termination of the Chapter 21 probationary employment contract of Jimmy Moore for good cause, and that the administration be directed to provide the required notices pertaining to that process.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you for bearing with us on a little bit of housekeeping there from executive session. We have a personnel update on our agenda tonight. Dr. Crawford?
Policy switch within the last year allowed for the administration to go and approve some personnel movement and appointments in interim periods. And tonight you have one of those. We're proud to recommend and present to y'all, present to the board, Chief Destry Walsworth to be the next police chief in Tyler ISD. He's been the deputy chief of police here over the last year or so, and he's proven great camaraderie within the ranks, along with a great work ethic and an engaging personality. We think Officer Walsworth, Chief Walsworth, is going to do a great job. So at this time, I would like Chief Walsworth to actually come to the podium to actually convey his thoughts to the board and to the public.
Dr. Crawford and TISD school board members, I'm honored to be given the opportunity to lead the Tyler ISD Police Department. As the third largest agency in our area, we are becoming a model agency for other school districts as they build their own police departments. As chief of police, I will continue to maintain and build relationships with the local, state, and federal agencies to ensure that our students and staff are safe. We will continue to train and prepare so that we are ready to respond to any situation keeping the safety of all students and staff our top priority. I'm proud to be part of Tyler ISD, a district that has made the safety of all students and staff their priority. Thank you for putting your trust in me to lead the great group of officers that we have that make up our department. We are committed to serving our hometown district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Walsworth, we're excited. I've gotten to work with you now closely ever since Chief Brown resigned to go be up on the north end. Certainly excited about that, and you recovered fairly well in your statement here. You started out calling us TISD, but at the end you called us Tyler ISD. And I think you kind of crinkled your nose when you said TISD like that, but at the end you said Tyler ISD. I didn't want to get confused with Tenaha ISD. All right, good deal. All right, well, welcome, Chief Walsworth. We're excited about that, and Board, thank y'all for allowing us to present this personnel to y'all tonight.
Thank you, and we all know how important the safety of our kids are, and in the modern educational environment, and from the national level all the way to the state level, local level, emphasis has been put on that, and proud that in Tyler ISD, we really are a model with all y'all back there, and Chief Walsworth now. Hope to just keep being that model and keep our kids as safe as possible as we try to educate them. Now, the best part of the meeting is special recognitions. I'm sure nobody's here for those.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Crawford. We want to begin the special recognition portion of tonight's meeting, announcing our November District Students of the Month. Our elementary student of the month is Valeria Araujo, a fifth grade student at Orr Elementary School. And our secondary student of the month is Rashad Warren, a senior at Tyler Legacy High School. At this time, please join me in watching a brief video about these two outstanding students. Student success can be achieved in a variety of ways, and it's a journey that looks different for every learner. In Tyler ISD, we witness the remarkable transformation of young lives every day. Let's take this moment to applaud their successes, share their stories, and inspire one another. Together, let's celebrate the journey of student success in Tyler ISD. Let's meet our elementary student of the month for November.
I am Valeria Araujo, and I am the district student of the month for November.
Valeria is a well-rounded fifth grader who maintains excellent grades and sets a positive example for her peers. She is actively involved in a number of leadership roles, including the Orr News Team, Rose City Readers, and the Girls in STEM Club.
It's a program that Ms. Cortez made to help girls show their STEM abilities, because there's mostly boys involved in labs. So she wants us to have an opportunity to experience STEM jobs that involve girls in them.
Michelle Ray, Media Technology Specialist for Orr, says Valeria is truly an asset to the morning broadcast.
Valeria has been an integral part of the announcements the last 2 years as a student newscaster and broadcaster behind the scenes. She has been mentoring our third graders this year and really trying to help them learn how to step up, because she'll be leaving us, unfortunately, but she's training the next generation of Orr's newscasters.
Now let's recognize our district secondary student of the month.
I'm Rashad Warren. I am the district secondary student of the month for the month of November.
As a dedicated senior at Tyler Legacy High School and Tyler ISD's Career and Technology Center, Rashad has exemplified the qualities of academic excellence with a 4.0 GPA, leadership, and community involvement.
Just be yourself in a way, try and do the things that you're capable of doing to the best of your abilities. I would say having school spirit helps a lot. Being there for your fellow classmates, in the classroom, in sports.
Looking toward the future, Rashad has been accepted into the engineering program at Texas A&M University. He also plans to apply to prestigious institutions like Harvard, MIT, and LeTourneau University. His ambition and drive to pursue a career in engineering are truly inspiring.
Rashad is an excellent student. He's been in our engineering program throughout high school. He's got great ideas. He works well with others. He collaborates as part of the team. He takes on leadership roles. He's got everything it takes to be successful. It's a pleasure having him in the classroom.
Let's honor these remarkable students as we acknowledge the outstanding achievements happening throughout our district. This recognition is brought to you by Christus Trinity Mother Francis Health System. And at this time, we'd like to invite the board to come forward. And now we would like to invite down our elementary student of the month. Come on down. Okay, let's give her one more round of applause. And next, we would like to welcome down our secondary student of the month. Come on down, Rashad. Congratulations. Let's give him one more round of applause. Next, we would like to congratulate the following students for placing in the UIL Cross Country State Championship competition. Amy Vasquez from Tyler High School placed 35th in the Class 5A Cross Country State Championship. Amy is the first female athlete to qualify and place in this competition in Tyler High School's history of this program. So come on down. We are proud of you. Let's give her one more round of applause. And next, we would like to recognize Madry East from Tyler Legacy High School, who placed in the top 100 at the Class 6A Cross Country State Championships. And this is not the first, but the second year for her to qualify. Come on down, Madry. And now we would like to recognize our elementary district teacher of the month, Tiara Anderson from Clarkston Elementary, and here are a few comments from her principal. Miss Anderson, a third grade math teacher, goes above and beyond for her students and team. She's committed to her students' success, both in and outside of the classroom, attending their events like games and school board meetings, and constantly seeking feedback to improve her teaching. Known for her strong parent communication, she shares positive updates with families weekly. She's a dedicated teammate, always striving to make a positive impact in the school community. Come on down, Mrs. Anderson.
All right.
Congratulations. Okay. Let's give her one more round of applause. And now for our secondary teacher of the month, Mitch Ray from Tyler Legacy High School. Here are a few comments from his principal. Mr. Ray is a physics and AP physics teacher who is committed to his students and the school as a whole. His engaging teaching style makes challenging topics accessible, fostering a supportive environment that encourages learning and critical thinking. Mr. Ray is a key member of the Avid Sight team, sponsors the Investing Club, and supports college readiness skills. His dedication has inspired his students, with 4 even qualifying for the National U.S. Physics Team exam. Mitch also leads professional development on campus and connects with families through weekly emails, building a strong sense of school community. His positive attitude and genuine care for his students and student success make him an ideal candidate for the Secondary Teacher of the Month. Come on down, Mr. Ray. And that concludes our recognitions for this evening.
Okay, next on our agenda is public participation, but we do not have any participants from the public this meeting. And as Dr. Crawford makes his way back up, we will go ahead and entertain a motion on the approval of minutes from the board workshop on October 3rd and the regular meeting of October 21st.
I move we approve the minutes for October 3rd and October 21st.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, motion carries. We do have a couple of updates here. The first one is a CLI Engage update. Dr. Crawford?
Yep. Per the board monitoring calendar and some performance reporting, we have the CLI Engage update. We've got Mrs. Jeannie Dykeman, SMU Mustang. It's popular to be an SMU Mustang right now. It's going to provide the board their update for this CLI Engage update for our younger kiddos.
Yes.
Ms. Dykeman?
All right, good evening, President Washman, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Crawford. Tonight we have the CLI Circle beginning of the year data. So this first slide shows the prior year, beginning of year to this, beginning of year, prior year to this year. And so we see some nice gains for the early literacy, the rapid letter naming, the rapid vocabulary, and we have a 3% gain in the math. On the social emotional, we have that 7% decline. This rubric scores positive social behaviors such as peer and adult interaction, behavior regulation, approaches to learning such as curiosity and flexibility, and then scores students on how well they follow directions, problem solve, and cooperate successfully with others. The early writing, we do have a double dip decrease. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, we implemented a writing rubric, and so we have a more standardized approach now. So even though we have that dip now, we know that consistency and a more objective rubric will pay off in the future. So our next slide compares our pre-K tuition, pre-K non-tuition, and Head Start students. We've seen these gaps before in the beginning of the year data, and so as students are provided the same curriculum, we know that we'll recover many of these gaps. And it's important to note that at this time, students have not received instruction from Tyler ISD staff yet, so this data represents a starting point for the learning. This year, we're taking a more proactive approach as we chase our district literacy goal of On 3 by 3. So Dr. Norman and her RLA team created a pre-K instructional framework with a pacing calendar to better align curriculum and resources to kindergarten through third grade literacy instruction. And the CNI department also created Reading Horizons lessons for pre-K teachers, so they did a lot of work this summer. And so a lot of PD has occurred for them, such as the Reading Horizons training, and we want to address that phonics gap, so the Reading Horizons is that component. Also, there's PLC quarterly meetings that have started to collaborate on the lesson planning and alignment to the scope and sequence that's in the curriculum documents. And then also, we have mentor pre-K teachers that are providing coaching, feedback, and support to our less veteran pre-K teachers and certainly our new teachers. So this last slide is our demographic breakdown, and again, we have a variety of starting points. As students are exposed to the text and the opportunity to practice these early literacy skills, we anticipate growth in all of these areas. Typically, we do see some nice gains for our Hispanic students pretty quickly when they have that language acquisition and the exposure thereof. Also, a Tyler ISD CLI assessment calendar has been created for our pre-K staff that includes progress monitoring windows to better align, like we saw with M-Class and iReady. The progress monitoring really paid off, just having that extra focus on some of our gap areas in the data. So we do anticipate that growth for our middle of the year and end of year data for our pre-K students as well. So that's the update. Can I answer any questions?
Okay, thank you. Yes, sure you can. Before I give it to the board for questions, I was just going to remind us of the age of the pre-K and Head Start students.
They are mostly 4.
Okay.
Yes.
Some 3, I bet.
Yes.
So we have 3 and 4-year-olds here, so I always like to remind maybe the audience or maybe those who are watching when we're looking at data that this is data for 3 or 4-year-olds who are being tested on their first week probably of school.
That is correct.
Something that's like school.
Yes,
So-
they were in school about 2 weeks, just enough to settle the crowd, and then we started the testing, so not a lot of instruction has occurred yet.
Okay, well, good. Does anybody on the board have any questions or comments?
Go to the that first slide, first data set. Thank you. Interesting that I remember this time last year, I believe that the baseline was pretty high, and we were all surprised, especially on the social emotional part of it. So to kind of dovetail off of what Mr. Washington was talking, remember these are different kids. This is not a longitudinal thing. These are a brand new, fresh set of oranges that we're getting after last year's oranges have turned into apples that are in kindergarten and first grade now. So
That is correct. It's true baseline data.
when will we be able to present the middle of the year?
Middle of the year is in February,
February, okay.
and then end of the year in May.
Good.
Dr. Crawford is getting used to my questions, I do believe. I was going to ask the same thing about social emotional. I think that those two and early writing are the two that we always struggle with. So it's important. I'm looking forward to seeing what we have mid-year or whatever to see the improvement.
We are anticipating good results just from having that focus on the progress monitoring at a higher level.
Okay.
Yeah, and social emotional, now writing is a little different. Writing is, it's right there in front of you, it's pretty concrete, but the social emotional, again, it's very subjective in a lot of ways. Is that not correct, Ms. Dyckman?
That's correct. And when you're trying to score students on how well they cooperate with others or how well they respond to instructions and directions, like it's just a growth opportunity. So many of them, it's their first time in that structured environment. So we have to give them some grace to kind of learn routines and procedures.
And there could be a rubric. Is there a rubric involved in this?
Yes.
Okay, so that teacher's got a scorecard in front of them that actually is able to score each kid. And so, again, the person doing the scoring could be different than the ones from last year as well because of teacher turnover or whatever, right? Correct?
That's correct. And it's a Likert scale, and so sometimes, consistently, so it is hard to score.
How you may be feeling that day.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you a 1.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
I'd like to know what rapid vocabulary looks like.
So it's a time test, and so it's just recall of vocabulary words. And so very challenging because the slide changes every 3 seconds. So they're probably not going to have a lot of fluency there at the beginning of the year for sure.
Is that an online program?
Yes.
Okay.
It's from the Children's Learning Institute.
Right, okay.
I guess I'm concerned about social emotional because going to first grade, because they didn't have kindergarten back when I started the school. And it was very traumatic for me in the first grade. I think the first half year I cried every day. The separation anxiety. So the social emotional is real. I look at that a lot, I think.
Yeah, and I think we all see that kids just respond better when they have a solid routine and we get some procedures in place. So we're certainly benefiting students at a younger age. And we're talking about 800 kids in our pre-K system and with Head Start. So it's a lot of students we're impacting in a positive way that should promote better learning K through 3.
Well, I know that I think it's probably been said from this dais, but definitely from Dr. Crawford's seat somewhere, you got to inspect what you expect, maybe. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
And so it's good, even just for us as a board and us as a district. And that's what we're going to move into is talking about goals and everything. But we got middle of the year, beginning, middle, and end, and we're 3 times a year we're getting updated on and tracking everything to make sure we're on pace maybe to hit goals. Mm-hmm. And so thank you for the report. We really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right.
I just want to add one thing. I think it's for those parents out there who are trying to choose to go to a pre-K program, paid, unpaid, whatever it is, I think it's just so important that I don't think anybody really does this rigorous of, dialing into these little 3 and 4-year-olds and really putting a curriculum together to get them ready for kindergarten. And I think that's really, really important. And I've said this before up here, but Lachlan was the first pre-K, my daughter was the first pre-K program, and Andy was the paid tuition. And when she went to kindergarten, it was a very, she went in there and they could tell she had come from the TISD program, Tyler ISD program, sorry, a pre-K rather than somewhere else. And so I just think it really speaks volume about our pre-K program that we do. And I just love that y'all are doing this new curriculum that y'all have with it. And I think that's really, really important. So good job.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next item is to consider approval of goals for successful student outcomes. Last meeting, we sat and got a preview of it, made a few tweaks and adjustments to these goals that are annual goals that we assess a few times a year, and all of these goals are based on STAR data. The long-term goal is a 5-year goal. We have every annual goals in between then that we look and see how we did after the STAR data comes in July, usually July. So
It's correct. It's part of your board monitoring calendar. That's also in your board operating procedures. Pretty important for us to be able to normalize some things. We're finally getting our sea legs back underneath us from COVID, and of course the accountability ratings, which is they actually had a hearing today. That's kind of impacted some of this stuff. Plus a change in the assessment. If no one thinks that they haven't changed the STAR test, they have changed the STAR test. But it is House Bill 3 that mandates targets for early literacy, mathematics proficiency, and college and career readiness. We were early adopters here in Tyler ISD as far back as 2015 or 2016 with the old Lone Star governance, and the state legislature, rightfully so in my opinion, thought that this would be good for all 1,200 plus school systems across the state, as it was for a Tyler ISD or a Nacogdoches or a Marshall, these early adopters here in East Texas. And so tonight we have before the board the result, the accumulation of the work that they did at the last workshop in regards to that literacy, mathematics, and CCMR.
Thank you. I do believe we did all the heavy lifting last meeting. And so, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding this item before I entertain a motion?
Mr. President, I appreciate that you guys did a good job with setting goals. I apologize for having had to miss that, but I think it's very important for all of us to have buy-in on what our goals are. And we are a team, and so I'd like to make a motion to approve the goals.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have a question regarding
Okay,
the
go
goals.
ahead. We have a motion, comment. It's okay.
Okay. And just looking at logistics, I don't know if it's just an oversight or whatever, in regards to the progress measures 1, 2, and 3, the way it's stated, the last statement, the district will outperform their comparison group. Question, what does outperform mean? In 4, it says, will rank in the top quartile of their comparison group. I think maybe all 4 of them should say the same thing as 4, but I'm not sure why it was stated differently. I don't know if it's just an oversight or. Know what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? At the very end, each statement says, the last part of the sentence says, the district will outperform their comparison group. And that's stated in 2 and 3. But 4, it says the district will rank in the top quartile of their comparison group. Why is it those 3 are different than 4? Oversight?
You don't have a...
Turning it on. Yeah, so when you're looking at those progress measures, you're looking at 2 different sets of data.
Okay.
When you look at the progress measures 1, 2, and 3, you're looking at kindergarten, first, and second grade, which is data from iReady. That's going to be a comparison group that we get from a subset from iReady, where as you look at the overall goal, and then 4th grade, that is STAR data that we can pull from the state to look at how we perform in a specific quartile. So you're looking at 2 different sets of 2 different forms of data that we don't have access to a quartile performance like we do with STAR data with kinder, first, and second grade data.
Appreciate that.
Okay, I have a motion. I'll entertain a second on that.
I'll second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Looking forward to seeing how we do chasing these goals. Okay, next, similar to that one, last meeting, the state does require us to look at our board operating procedures every year. We have seen, and I do not believe there are any changes to our board operating procedure, any major changes, Dr. Crawford?
There are not. I did not receive any requests from a trustee to potentially look at any types of adjustments inside of there. That's typically how we normally do things. I don't think we adjusted something in regards to internal audit.
We adjusted it to add the changes in the goals.
The changes in the goals, obviously, that were just adopted or updated, the PD's updated.
The board's professional development that's required, as well as the.
And this was all in the first reading last month, so we've seen this.
First
Yes.
reading.
Right.
But
Okay.
as far as internal audit goes, that was the last adjustment we'd made since like 2017, except for some of those that are statutorily required.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then on that item.
Mr. President, I move we approve the board operating procedures.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, the motion carries. And now we are on to our business, legal, finance consent agenda. Do we need to pull any of these and discuss?
Item G.
Item G, we'll
C.
go ahead and
A.
pull that.
I had a question regarding page 52. I wasn't sure on that.
Page 50, okay. So you want to pull A
Yeah,
and G?
just clarification, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right, I'll entertain a motion on items A through H with the exception of A and G.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, now, item A, that's our amended budget.
Right.
Mr. Newsom?
Just on page 52 of your booklet, I had a question in regards to that. It says summary of significant changes from original and current budget. And it said changes, but I don't see any changes. It just has the lawn maintenance contract increase, the amount as the original. I'm trying to figure out the difference in original and current, and where are we?
The original was from the original budget.
Okay.
There were no current month increases. If there was anything if you look on the page right before it, see you have change in original budget and change current.
Okay.
We had no changes or additions to the budget in November.
Okay. So the current would be 0 changes, right?
Right.
Okay.
But on the original on the left,
Right.
those were original changes.
Okay.
Our original budget's the first column.
There you go.
The amended budget is the third column, and so the difference is $5 million. And this page just tells you what that $5 million is comprised of.
Okay. Okay. I was confused.
So, hey, easy on that. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion then to approve item A.
I move we approve item A.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, now we have an interesting kind of new thing we're doing here. It's to consider the approval of the resolution casting votes to elect candidates to serve as members of the Smith County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Dr. Crawford, we used to just appoint people to these positions.
Yeah,
What gives?
there's been change in statute that is effective to where they actually held elections for 3 positions this last May. 2 of those seats were filled. 1 was appointed because of lack of participation there. And then there's 5 more seats that are left remaining that taxing jurisdictions are allocated a certain amount of, lack of a better way of saying it, voting points to allocate amongst those that are on a ballot. And you have the ballot in front of you. There's 7 individuals on there. And Tyler ISD, as the largest taxing jurisdiction per valuation, correct, Gina?
It is.
Per valuation is assigned 298 points. It does represent the largest of the taxing jurisdictions. Do you have your book with you, Gina? Just so we know who the largest 4 are. There's Tyler ISD, then Smith County. And then Tyler Junior College, and then the City of Tyler. Tyler Junior College at 93, City of Tyler at 76, Smith County at 232, Tyler ISD at 298. So those are your largest 4 jurisdictions that will be taking similar actions in order to allocate that. Those representatives then will serve a certain amount of years for their terms on the board as they kind of roll into this new way of doing things per the appraisal district statute that the legislature has enacted for all 254 counties across the state.
Okay, so it's our job then to allocate our 298 votes and distribute those votes among either 1 or 7 people.
Correct.
Correct. And we think maybe that if we lump our votes in between maybe 2 people, that is our best chance to get who we might want on there?
Currently have 3 representatives on there under the old model of appointments. You're still allocated more positions than any other entity because of the valuation of what our taxing jurisdiction is assigned. But now this actually goes in front of instead of I'm not gonna say the superintendent doing that or administration providing the names of those that would serve, it actually goes in front of the elected officials to vote upon how you're going to allocate those votes. So in other words, it used to be Tyler ISD, you get 3 spots. Now it is Tyler ISD, you get 298 points to allocate towards 7 individuals. It could have been 20 individuals. It could have been 25. It could have been 100. It could have been only 5. But you've got 7 to consider there.
Okay.
Yes, the board would need to consider representation on the Smith County Appraisal District Board and what your strategy would be to maximize representation that you see fit for this.
I've done a little math, board, and there's the most certainty in getting the most representatives we can get, in my humble opinion, is giving all of our votes to 2 people as opposed to anything else. I think that's the best shot. I'll just say it. But I can't make a motion, so.
President Washburn, I move that we split our votes equally between Orinthia Mason and Jonathan Wolf.
Simple enough.
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I had 1, 2, 3, at least 4 ayes. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay? Okay, I didn't hear anything from down there. Aye, okay, I just need to make sure that, so I have.
4 carries it, right?
Yeah, but we still got to have a count. So for the record, aye, nay, aye. 6-1. Okay, motion carries 6-1. Thank you.
Mr. President, make sure that you adopt the resolution.
Okay, so,
Mr. President, I do have a question, just, first, we don't have to turn this in to the 15th, right? Is that correct?
I'll turn my mic on.
It's close of business on the 16th.
On
It's
the
a
16th,
Monday,
On the Monday.
which is our regular board meeting in December.
Okay. So, all right,
okay,
sounds good. That's,
very good.
If we were to meet, could we rescind this and revote? If for any reason one of the people we voted for decided they did not want to be a part of it, could we rescind and change our votes?
We would have that option.
Okay.
According to the attorneys. It's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be no different than if someone accepted it and then 3 months down the line, someone resigned, you'd still have to come back and appoint someone. So it could be very similar to what you're describing right there.
Okay. So within that motion, we had to make sure that we approved the resolution casting votes.
I move we approve the resolution of Tyler Independent School District casting votes to elect candidates to serve as members of the Smith County Appraisal District Board of Directors.
So we have casted our votes, and now we are approving the resolution to cast those votes. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
1.
The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah, part of that resolution is you've got to write in
Mhm.
what your choices are.
Right.
You just did
Which
that.
I will do that.
You did that.
Did that.
And
We
you'll,
did
and
that.
you'll do that.
We'll do that
at the end of the
before,
meeting.
The meeting is, before we leave. So,
Okay?
okay, great. Thank you, State of Texas.
I mean, that was a model Roberts rules
That was
right
definitely
there.
model Robert's
No
Rules of
doubt.
Order. Oh, man. Okay.
Made our way through it.
Now, we have the curriculum instruction consent agenda to consider the approval of the memorandum of understanding with the East Texas Youth Orchestra for after-school strings club.
You know, we've got some retired Tyler ISD staff that love music and see a value in orchestra, being a part of not just the fine arts program there, but the impact that it makes instructionally. There's a lot of research that talks about that. So we're excited to have these former Tyler ISD employees that are still want to be involved in our schools and putting orchestra in a variety of our campuses. And being an old Hurst Euless Bedford guy that had a Suzuki Strings program prevalent throughout the school system, this does warm my heart that we're starting this out and we're able to bring this in front of the board to start this MOU with East Texas Youth Orchestra for an after-school strings club.
Yeah, sounds like a great opportunity. I'll entertain a motion on that item.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Looking forward to see what comes out of that. That's really, really cool. Now we have a safety and security update.
Again, once again, part of your board monitoring calendar, here comes Agent Jeff Millslagle, Director of Safety and Security, to the presentation table to give you a safety and security update. Agent Millslagle.
Good evening.
Good evening.
President Washman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Crawford, this is your update on safety and security. I have 7 bullet points that we're going to go over this evening. First is 2 weeks ago, TEA announced they were having a behavioral threat assessment pilot project. With Dr. Crawford's concurrence, I put our district in for that, and Monday, we got the notification. We're one of 15 districts statewide, and it starts tomorrow with a Zoom call with Lori Anderson and myself to go over this behavioral threat assessment that TEA's safety and security is going to roll out for the 25-26 school year. So we'll get some insight into what's going on and maybe get some input. So I think that's really positive. Over the last couple of months, we've had 9 intruder audits, and thank goodness to our staff in safety and security and all of our school campuses, we've had no findings. They're coming back in the first week of December, and they'll do 3 more. So we're over almost halfway, and we're doing good. So I haven't had to come to executive session with any problems. Earlier this year, we rolled out our silent panic technology, and hats off to the IT staff for doing this. It allows announcements of our safety protocols for lockdowns, drills, and everything like that. It goes over the IFPs, all phones, and all cell phones if there's an emergency at the campuses. Everybody has bought into this. They really like it, and it gives notification to anybody and everybody on the campus if there is a problem. We've had to use it a couple of times when it was real, and those were holds for emergency services and a hold for a police department operation near one of our campuses. So everybody gets notified in their classroom, on their IFPs, and on their cell phones if they download the InformaCast. And that's just a great job by the IT staff. Earlier this year, I put together the EOP plan, updated it. It was signed by Dr. Crawford and Mr. Washman. It was sent in September along with the cybersecurity annex that is being graded by the School Safety Center. It's similar to one last year except for a couple of date changes. They've had such a turnover, I've not gotten the report card back, but if it comes back, I'll change what they require. Next is the Tyler Hike pedestrian crossing. I got with the city of Tyler last week. We did a Zoom call with TxDOT. We will be putting in for that again this year. So that's in January. In June, we'll be notified if we're in contention, and the awards come out in October. You'll recall 2 years ago we tried this, and no one in East Texas got 1 dime from TxDOT for these proposals. Last week, Dr. Crawford and I went to the city council for resolution because the city of Tyler applied for and they received a grant to do a pedestrian crossing at Hubbard into the park. That's a Parks and Rec deal, and they have to go with TxDOT for design engineering, but that is done solely by the city of Tyler under a grant. So that's going to be real positive, and that will get started here very shortly. And the last thing we have is in October, our fire marshal came in and did surprise visits to all our campuses, and we did really well. There was a couple things we're going to have to go back over, and those were human error problems, and they're easily fixed. So he'll be back for a couple of those campuses, probably in December, maybe January, and do another surprise visit. The other thing that we're doing with them, they have to approve now our evacuation plans every year. And what we've changed, and my guys and Chief Walsworth's officers, we're doing the lockdowns ourselves. So our principals, APs are not checking the doors or anything like that. So they go into their offices, lights, locks, and out of sight. And that was as a result of what happened in Nashville a couple of years ago when a principal thought it was a drill and came out and got into a firefight with a young man. So that's what I have tonight. You're looking at me. Boss?
Young man?
I have a question.
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
If we have any
I'm ready.
questions. Go for it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
This is one of the things that I was hit with when I first got on the school board about the Tyler High crosswalk. So I've definitely been following that. And when I heard about the City of Tyler pedestrian crosswalk at Hubbard and Rose Brutman, I think, could you explain the difference between the two and why the City of Tyler could petition for that crosswalk as opposed to the one at Tyler High?
Well, let's start with Tyler High. The
Right.
City of Tyler and Tyler Independent School District did that together.
Right.
We did not know about this one, and this was done through the Parks and Recs.
Okay.
It's designed to get people in the community near a park to the park safely. They're apples and oranges.
Right.
TxDOT has nothing to do with this other than the engineering study.
Okay. And I was assuming that since Tyler High is on the loop, and it is under the auspices of the state, as
Yes.
opposed to the street running by Hubbard, it's a city.
City.
State
That is
highway versus a city street.
Right, that's
Yes,
what I
yes.
was thinking.
As-
with the-
Yes.
yeah,
Right,
if
that's
you
what
wanna
I thought.
clarify, that's what it is.
That's what I thought, okay. That helps, thanks.
You bet.
I did notice a little extra fortification over at Legacy this week. You know, a few more gates in a couple places,
Yes.
a couple entrances. So I said, oh, didn't think about that, but it makes complete sense.
Yes, grant money covered that, by the
Okay,
way.
cool. Into the indoor practice facility, roll-up doors.
Usually, one of those things like that are good ideas whenever students or student athletes look at it and go, ugh.
Yeah.
It's a win.
That is something that
Got one of those
would
today.
stay open, and I understand we try not to leave doors
Roll the
propped
door
open.
was
and
up,
that's
but
when
the
roll
gates were
door up.
closed. Because, ugh.
Freeze in, so it was a solution, it seems like to me.
Yep.
So, okay, anybody else have any questions or comments on our safety and security update? Honestly, I still feel like we're the safest, knock on wood, the safest district in I don't know where, but getting to sit in on the quarterly meetings and being blessed to have all of the acronyms here in town. I mean, our kids, if anybody needs to hear it, are covered, and I appreciate that as a parent and a taxpayer.
I'll share that with my guys
Thank you.
and Destry's guys.
Keep it up. Thank you. Okay. District calendar, 2025-2026 school year. Dr. Crawford.
It's one of my favorite presentations that I make throughout the year. This is the first reading of the calendar. We'll actually put this in front of y'all on December 16th for adoption. Let's go over some of the highlights. Let's remember that Ms. Hines actually leads the process that goes through this. We actually put a group together, 25 individuals, made up of parents and staff persons and community members, good, at all levels. Let's look at August first. Looks like we actually come back with the start of professional development and teachers returning August the 4th. You get 11th and 12th that are a couple of prep days with a midweek start. Much chagrin of the superintendent of schools. This shows you how much ego that I do not have. I cannot stand 3-day weeks, but our staff clamors for it, and we're going to go ahead and give that midweek start because, just working those 3 days, got to get to the weekend to take a break because we've had all summer off. So anyways, we're going to reward I think the students are refreshed whenever they did. They actually have to start going to bed at a decent hour. It's kind of a shock to the system of them having to actually wake up at, 7 o'clock to get to school. And so that's a good respite there. Then, of course, September 1st is Labor Day. Then we get into October. October, you have what looks like a fall break for students on the 10th and the 13th. Everyone's off on the 10th, and then you're also a professional development / work day there on the 13th. I guess that's probably a 9-week break right there as well, so that makes good sense there as well. Contrary to popular belief, we don't try to schedule homecomings this far in advance, okay? And some of y'all are like, why do we schedule homecoming during a fall break? Well, you also have to look at the schedule. You know, you're not going to schedule 8-time state champions for your homecoming game. So if it does, not every year. Sometimes you just get forced into it. Plus, I've also heard that we schedule homecoming too early sometimes, and it's just not fall weather enough. So, you know, we're trying to make sure we have a good instructional calendar. If homecomings fall on a certain date, it's not by design. We don't like doing it that way, but it did work out this year, I think. November, you have a 9-day break that we're about to experience here in a few weeks. We get the same thing in November of 2025. What an incredible profession that we live in, that our Board of Trustees can consider a 9-day break for our staff. Then you get over here into December of 2025, you have an early release day on the 19th, that Friday, and then you get into this long break over here, and then all of a sudden you have January 1st is on a Thursday, and then you get the 2nd to recuperate, and then look at that, there's a weekend. You get some like quadruple recuperation there. And because of Ron Jones, Mr. Jones, the chief of staff, advocating for his staff that he is the chief of, we've got to have a day for professional development and a work day on the 5th as we come back. So kids will come back on the 6th, but all the adults after those 17, 16 days, because of Mr. Jones advocating for them, we'll have a 4-day week. 19th is MLK Day. We want to make sure we take that day off per Tyler ISD tradition. On the 9th of February, you're looking at a professional development day. Pretty random day there, but it's a 3-day weekend for our students and their families. You get into March, and you're actually having spring break the 2nd week of March. The water, the Gulf of Mexico is a little chilly at that time. If you would wait a week, it might warm up a little bit more. It looks like that we're actually going to be observing spring break with Baylor that year, along with TJC. But again, we choose that spring break primarily because of our dual credit students at that time, and that's when TJC will have its spring break as well. April 3rd, remember a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away, the superintendent showed up and we used to have Good Friday as a bad weather day. Do you realize how much pressure that puts on the superintendent of schools to not take a day off in case you had icy roads? And I said, who did that? Because I had a board member who used to say, make sure we take Good Friday off now. But if you put it as a weather day, it makes it awfully difficult. So I said, if Good Friday is important for this community to take off right before Easter, we're going to have a 3-day weekend right there before Easter and have Good Friday off. So there's a holiday there. Then you get over there into May, you have graduations, May 14th, 15th, and 16th. You have the last day of school of being May 22nd. May 22nd. And then that's an old Rodney Curry thing right there. And so that's the last day of school to be an early release day. So we did accomplish our goals. A good instructional calendar presented to the board for consideration that's going to have a lot of teaching and learning in it, but at the same time, we make sure we have the Thanksgiving week, the Christmas week, and we're through before Memorial Day. And to make that happen, Mr. Bergfeld, we have to start at that time in August. I know that's close. We're trying to get it up in July. I have challenged Tasha, and now handing the baton over to Casey. What would a post-Labor Day start look like for Tyler ISD? But just to be able to say that, it would mean that we probably could not get out before Memorial Day. We went that old school. It was because of the instructional day and the instructional minimum requirements that you and I did not have to go to school under, Mr. Bergfeld. So anyways, there is our calendar. Any comments that I need to take a look at?
Just a question at the bottom, I see sponsored by. Are we still looking for a sponsor for the calendar, or?
I'll ask Ms. Hines that. Are we looking? Okay, first right of refusal to the current calendar sponsor.
Got a calendar sponsor. We have a question from our attorney.
That's a legal question.
It says March 9th through the 13th is spring break, and then side, it says spring break, March 16 to 20.
Man alive.
For those who couldn't hear our attorney, who's not mic'd up,
Glad
there
you-
is a difference
Glad
between
you brought that
what
up
is-
in the public meeting instead of telling us afterwards.
There's a difference
sure
in
we can-
spring
I'm pretty
breaks
sure we
on the
get that
calendar
corrected.
versus what is written describing that. Thank you.
All right, we got a lot of eyes on this calendar. All right, good deal. Ms. Hines, the guy sitting right next to you? Okay, there you go. All right. Get with him on that. I'm telling you. Hey, this is a draft. There you go. All right,
Believe it or
we'll
not.
bring it to you in December.
People are planning their vacations for March right now, going off of this meeting, I guarantee you. Okay.
And as a former educator, the 13th is just great to start 3-day week.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay. Look at that, Mr. Jones. Dr. Jones over there.
I've never sat in the superintendent's seat one day in my life, but as a parent, I do like starting out on a 3-day week. I'm
You
just
do?
gonna say,
Y'all like
I
that?
like it.
Man alive. All right.
So much
Yeah.
easier with your kids.
Kids are not.
You know what? That week is not bad, but it's the other ones that I get proposed on like really long fall breaks, like you see at other school districts to where they take a Thursday, Friday off, and they come back and they take a Monday, Tuesday off, and you have a sandwich in there, a 2-day weekend for a 6-day fall break. That's 2 3-day weeks in a row that it kills you. Because it's all about instruction. You know, and so, I mean, how many times can you show the Polar Express?
And what I am seeing here is literally every month of the calendar, there is at least a day off.
Yeah.
So I know that.
Yeah, it's why we take an entire week of Thanksgiving off now, because used to when you'd only take 2 days off, how many finger turkeys can you draw in elementary school? You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's good for first
A
reading.
little homage to West Cama, Texas right there.
Good
'Cause that was
participation.
big debate. There you go. There's your calendar for consideration right there.
Okay, we'll consider it. Future business, December 16th, we have a regular meeting. December 23rd through January 3rd is Christmas break. And having said that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that this meeting be adjourned.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.